For more on this, we are now joined by Tilak Devishar, author and former member of NSAB, who is a National Security Advisor. Sir, welcome to Firstpost.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on your show.
Sir, what do you make of Pakistan's escalations?
You know, it's surprising because for the last two nights, they had been escalating gradually through drones and all. But I think last night they really targeted several military installations, Air Force stations, and apparently also fired a missile at Delhi, a long-range missile at Delhi. So this is a serious escalation. I think India has also responded in adequate manner, proportionately, and have also hit some of their targets, military targets like the airbase in Rawalpindi and things like that. So there is a gradual escalation. And today we hear that the Pakistan Prime Minister has called a meeting of the National Command Authority. So, which is their nuclear apex body that controls the nuclear assets and decides on nuclear policy. Now, that I think could just be signaling, could just be trying to create psychological pressure. But even so, I think it is a couple of notches up the escalatory ladder and not a very comfortable thing.
Sir, Pakistan has also attacked several civilian areas, which shows their intent to escalate matters. What is your take on that?
Yes, certainly. For the last 3 days, in fact, there have been ceasefire violations, especially Punch in Rajouri across the LOC. And so both civilian and military targets, whereas India's, the initial thing on the 7th was terror training camps. This is where the attacks had come from. And we had restricted ourselves only to the terror training camps. But Pakistan, I think, is a sign of desperation in the case of Pakistan. I personally feel that they are, by targeting civilian military targets and having this meeting of the National Command Authority, they are deliberately trying to provoke and also to draw the attention of the international community. Their desperation is that somehow the United States or some other international members of the international community intervene and arrange for some sort of a ceasefire and both sides to pull back, because they know they are in a very weak position. You have reports of running out of fuel, petrol. I think petrol stations have been closed, and they will not have enough fuel even to run their tanks and their other military transport. So I think they are desperately looking for a off ramp or something to move out of this stage in which they have got themselves into. Their gamble totally failed. Whatever they were trying to do by doing this Pahalgam attack, it has totally failed because they didn't expect that India would react non-kinetically. They thought that, like in the case of Uri or like in the case of Pulwama, there will be a short military escalation, which will get under control, and then both will go back to normal. In the meantime, the country would have got united behind the army. You see, right now in Pakistan, the army is on a very weak wicket. It's on the back foot. It's not been able to control the security situations in Balochistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Imran Khan continues to be the most popular person despite everything that the army has thrown against him. And Asim Munir's own position is very weak. So, in order to look to sort of get back the credibility, we externalized tensions with India, which they thought they could be manageable. But India responded the first within 24 hours through non-kinetic measures, especially holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. Pakistan's water situation is already stressed. They are a water-scarce country. And disruptions in the supplies of the Indus water, unpredictability, at a time when Kharif crop is going to be sown, has created a lot of heartburning among the farmers, especially in Pakistan's heartland, Punjab. So for all this, they thought then there's scope the military escalation. But here too, they have not been successful. In fact, India is now hitting back at them. So they are looking for somebody to come and bail them out. And I think they're looking for the United States or Saudi Arabia or China to come and keep the two countries, make them go back to the normal positions and have some kind of a ceasefire. So I think a lot of this which is happening is because of that.
So speaking of escalations, Pakistan has used the fatah-ii long-range missiles. What is your reaction to that?
Again, it's a huge escalatory maneuver. You fire a long-range missile at India's capital. I mean, how do we know it's not nuclear tipped or nuclear armed? So they are taking a huge risk by launching this kind of a missile at India's capital. Of course, we were able to destroy that missile before it could reach its target. But what if it had got through? And how do you know it is not nuclear armed? So they have really gone up several notches on the escalatory ladder.
Also, sir, what do you make of the Indian response to Pakistan's constant provocations and the restraint that we've shown?
We did show restraint for the first 2 days, but I think last night we have hit back at them pretty severely. Not only have we blocked their drones, their drones attacks, but we've also targeted, from what I can make out, is Rawalpindi, the airbase, Multan airbase, and a couple of other places from which these drones, etc., were being targeted at India. So this has been, but again, it's a very measured response by India. Yeah. It's a very restrained response by India, and it's a very responsible response by India. But Pakistan seems to be really upping, going up several notches.
Rightly so, and many countries have come out backing India, but do you think there needs to be a stronger global condemnation of what Pakistan has been doing in the last few days?
I think there was global condemnation of the terror incident, and everybody understood India's compulsion that India would need to do something and need to do something strong immediately. So when India hit out at the terror camps, there was acceptance of the fact that India had hit out at terror training camps. Last 2 or 3 days, I have not heard anything which is either supportive of India or condemnatory of India. I think people are just watching and hoping that things would get under control and they would talk to each other. So I think let's see till today. I think today, after last night's events, I think today there will be probably more sort of reactions from the international community. Even in the UN Security Council meeting that Pakistan had organized a couple of days ago, there was very severe questioning of Pakistan. And I don't think so Pakistan was able to get a favorable outcome as it wanted. And let's not forget that Pakistan's ministers who have been going on television, especially on Sky News and things like that, have made a total, fool of themselves. I mean, 2 ministers have accepted that they were supporting terrorism for the last 30 years. That's a defense minister who said that. And then the former foreign minister, he said, yes, Pakistan has a past. And then, their fake news has also been caught out. Yeah. When the defense minister said that 5 Indian planes have been shot down, and when the anchor asked him, how do you know? He said, it's all over social media. I mean, come on, he's the defense minister. And he's quoting social media to lay an absurd claim that 5 Indian jets were shot down. Right. So it's getting a bad press. And I think let's see what happens today.